Messi and Ronaldo wouldn't have been the GOATs if some of the most talented players worked a little harder. These players had it all, yet their lack of dedication on the training ground held them back from reaching their full potential. Today we are counting down the top 10 laziest footballers. Number 2 would have been the greatest of all time, while number 3 is the cutest player of all time. We start with the Brazilian legend Romário. Known for his extraordinary goal-scoring abilities, Romário famously skipped training whenever he felt like. He once told his coach at Barcelona, "I don't need to train every day, I'll score on the weekend regardless." And true to his word, Romário often delivered when it mattered most. He scored 784 goals in 1002 official games, making him the 9th highest goal scorer in history. If all his goals were added, including friendly matches and youth games, he scored more than 1,000 goals. He was so talented his laziness doesn't matter. When asked about his secret, he said, "My mental preparation was simple. Just get there, put on the shirt and score. There's no other secret to it." There never was. He must be a man of great talent to deliver without training hard. Imagine if he had trained as hard as Ronaldo. Mario Balotelli was as unpredictable off the pitch as he was on it. His coaches from Roberto Mancini to Brendan Rodgers were constantly frustrated by his half-hearted training efforts. Mancini once had to kick him out of Manchester City training session for not trying hard enough. One time at Inter Milan, Mourinho was forced to play Balotelli due to injuries of other strikers. After lecturing Balotelli for several minutes on why he should be careful, Balotelli entered the game only to get a red card. Mourinho later said about him, "Balotelli is a fantastic player, but his mentality isn't always at the level it should be. I could write a 200-page book about my 2 years at Inter with Mario." His natural talent was undeniable, but Mario's infamous "why always me" attitude often translated into a lazy approach during practice. Was Balotelli proud of his actions? Not at all. He later said, "I think if I had the head I have on my shoulders now when I was younger, I would have won at least a couple of Ballon d'Or." He scored 193 career goals, which was no match to his raw talents. A player with dazzling footwork, Hatem Ben Arfa could turn defenders inside out, but only if he felt like. At PSG, his refusal to put in the effort during training led to long spells on the sidelines. Former coach Emery openly criticized Ben Arfa's work ethic, saying, "Hatem is a great player, but talent alone is not enough. He needs to work hard in training to earn a place." He wasn't doing that consistently. His 117 career goals meant his laziness didn't affect him much, but he would have done much more if he worked harder at training. Following the departure of Adebayo to Manchester City, Nicolas Bentner had the chance to replace him as the club's first-choice striker. He rather replaced him with words than in action. He once dubbed himself Lord Bentner and had immense belief in his abilities, but his performance in training didn't match his confidence. He was lazy at trainings and felt like other players should train on his behalf. Former Sunderland manager Steve Bruce said of him, "Nicolas has talent, but at times he's too casual in training. He needs to take it more seriously to reach his full potential." That was the same thing Arsene Wenger said about the striker. Like other lazy players, Bentner regretted his lazy attitude and admitted that he could have done better. Italian forward Antonio Cassano had all the tools to be a world-class player, but his hatred for training kept him from reaching his full potential. Cassano himself admitted that he preferred eating and enjoying life over training. This makes him unreliable because one minute he's Messi and the other minute he's Antony. This is what former Italian manager Cassera Pradelli said about him. When he's focused, he can be a game changer. However, his attitude at times made it challenging to rely on him. Both Carlo Ancelotti and Roberto Mancini said the same thing about him. His talents brought him to big clubs, but his attitude saw him fall out of favor with them. Ricardo Quaresma, Known for his spectacular skills, often dazzled in matches, but was equally known for slacking off in training. His career at top clubs like Barcelona and Chelsea never took off as expected, partly because of his poor work ethics. Jose Mourinho, who coached Quaresma, once said, "Quaresma has talent, but not the mentality to work hard." His unwillingness to put in effort during training kept him from being a consistent performer. Mourinho, Scolari, and Pereira all questioned his attitude towards training, but never his talent. He managed to score a total of 165 goals in his career as a result of his talent, but training harder would have doubled those figures. When Eden Hazard moved to Real Madrid, fans were excited. Will he win the Ballon d'Or and do greater things than he did at Chelsea? The hopes were high, but he was quickly criticized for showing up to training overweight. Teammates at Real Madrid often remarked that Hazard wasn't putting in the same effort in practice as he did at Chelsea. They did not know that he had the same attitude at Chelsea. See what Mikel Obi, his former teammate, said about him. Eden is naturally gifted. When you see him on the pitch, it's like he's playing a different game. But during training, he was sometimes not as serious as the rest of us. He was never serious with training at Chelsea, and his lack of discipline soon manifested at Real Madrid. He was a flop because his talent could not save him at a time when hard work was needed. Hazard himself admitted he found it hard to stay motivated for training and was forced to retire prematurely. You probably haven't heard his name because he likely played before you began watching soccer. George Best was on the same list with Pele and Maradona. He's the cutest footballer ever and played for Manchester United between 1963 and 1974. George Best, one of football's all-time greats, had a reputation for partying as hard as he played. Best famously avoided training, preferring to spend time in bars rather than on the pitch. Teammates from Manchester United often joked that Best would only show up for matches, skipping training altogether. It was like football was his part-time job. He drinks alcohol like it was water when others trained, but during this time he won the Ballon d'Or in 1968, showing how talented he was. If he had trained a little harder, he might have been better than Pele. His lack of dedication eventually caught up with him, shortening his career at the highest level. Although he had brief stays in some small clubs, he couldn't live up to his name because of his continuous fun life. After his retirement, he struggled with the alcohol addiction until he died in 2005. Next up, the magician of football, Ronaldinho. His performances on the pitch were dazzling, but off the field, it was a different story. His love for nightlife and laid-back attitude during training became notorious. At Barcelona, then teammate Deco once revealed, if Ronaldinho showed up on time to training, it was a good day. His lack of focus during training was forgiven only because of the magic he could produce during matches. But his career slowed down as his work ethics caught up with him. Without training hard, he still won 2 Ballon d'Ors and embarrassed defenders who trained the hardest. Imagine if he had put in more effort, he would have been the undisputed greatest of all time. Please say in the comments if you agree with that. And at number 1, we have Brazilian striker Adriano. Adriano was a powerful and skillful striker, known for his incredible strength, leather footwork, and ability to score from long distances, earning him the nickname the Emperor. But his talent soon disappeared because he was unwilling to work hard. At Inter Milan, it became clear that Adriano preferred partying over preparing for matches. Teammates would often comment on how he would show up late or not at all to training, and his weight gain became a public issue. Inter legend Javier Zanetti once said, Adriano had all the talent in the world, but he lost his way due to his lifestyle. His potential was never fully realized due to his crazy approach to training. Adriano later admitted that the loss of his father in 2004 deeply impacted his mental health, leading to a decline in his motivation and discipline. Talent can take you far, but without dedication and hard work, even the most gifted players can fall short. These footballers show the world flashes of brilliance, but their lack of effort in training kept them from reaching their full potential. Let us know in the comment who you think should have worked harder and who else deserved to be on this list.